Hello everyone and welcome to So Many Games So Little Time. Today we'll be talking about Night Parade of 100 Yokai by Louis Brueh, who I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Alright. It's a game that I'll tell you how to play. I'll also tell you how I feel about it. And I'm not just going to talk about the base game, I'm also going to talk about the expansions, Moonlight Whispers and Kami Rising, right? I don't have the boxes anymore because I put it all in the main box. Because it's not only so many games so little time, it's also so little space and so many games. Alright, so let's see how it plays, and also with the setup and everything else. Also the two expansions separately, and then I'll tell you how I feel about the game. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, so these are all the components that are in the game. So we have the mats, we have the island cards. This is the night side, this is the day side. We have the hidden plots that you see here. We have the talismans, we have the spirits, we have these mystery bonuses. We have the yokai cards, level 2, level 4, level 6. We have the scrolls. The order here, I just put them randomly, okay? The correct order you'll see later. We have the starting yokai cards for the clans. So the clans you see here are the Onikuma. These are the Nogitsune. Now, actually in the manual, it looks a little bit light brown, but it's obviously orange in the final product. And then you have the Gamanoke, which are these little frogs here. And then you have the Nekomata, which are the cats. Alright, so I've told you what all these different items are. So I'll take you through the setup step by step, okay? So let's go. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to place the mats, of course. There we go. There we go. And you can already see that you're supposed to place certain things in a certain order. But let me just make sure that it's actually in view. There we go. All right. Eventually, I'll probably zoom out a bit so everything can be seen clearly. All right. So first of all, we place the mat. Then we're going to build the world map. So you have all these different islands, right? So you have the main one, of course. You see the fire island, that's going to go in the middle. Okay. And as you might have already realized, you have the three different types. So you have the wood, you have earth, fire is in the middle, and this one is water. Okay, so earth, wood, water, and fire. So basically you're going to shuffle these. All right, obviously you're supposed to do it, I guess, under the table or whatever, or just randomly put them. You'll shuffle them and then put them all on the board. Now if you play with 1 or 2 players, you'll play with the night side, but we'll imagine that we're playing with more players just to see the different sessions. How you do it, which order, whatever, just place the tiles. Okay, like an alternative version could be that you just count how many tiles there are and people just shout out numbers, and that way you also have a random map. Like for example, this map I think I wouldn't especially like because too many of the islands of the same type are next to each other. Well, I guess I'm mostly talking about Earth and also the top here. Okay, these are also all next to each other. But then I guess maybe it'll create more of a interaction, more clashes between the players. Okay, so that step is done. That is the first step of the setup. Next, we're going to unveil the spirit dimension, which is basically this part. Okay, so you're going to take the spirit cards, you're going to shuffle them, shuffle them, shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Then you'll take 2 and place them face up. And then the other will go in the deck. Then same thing for level 4. So say 1 and another random one here. Okay, there are multiple colors in there. This is just accidental that it's the same color. All right, another earth, and another wood. Okay, So that's done. Then you're going to plan your ascension. So basically, shuffle these, and then you're going to give each player one face down, and that's it. I have to say, in my first game, because it might be a bit of a challenge, I gave people 2 cards and they chose one. But, you know, so for example, you give everyone a secret one. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Let's say we play with 3 players. You hand them out 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then the next one is you choose your clan. So as been said before, there's 4 clans. This is one, this is one, and then these 2. All right. So you just choose your clan. But let's say we'll do it with these 2. Okay. To give you kind of like an idea. So what do you give the people? What do you give your players? You give them, of course, all their meeples. Okay. Then you give them all their Tories, which are these. Okay. And then you give them a set of 3 scrolls. And for that, we're going to have to zoom out. So I'm going to do that now to give you a better view. Okay. So like I said, you're going to give the players their 3 scrolls. Everybody gets 3 scrolls. The top will be Earth. Okay, then be followed by water and then wood. Okay, that is how you do it. So you can see you need a fair bit of space because they have to be like this. You can't put them horizontal or whatever. Also, everybody is going to receive 3 spirits to start with. Okay. And they also get the starting cards of their clans. So for example, let's say we're the foxes, also known as the Nogitsune, right? So they'll get their deck of cards, which is the lady, right? So you turn them over and then you check. Okay, this one is wood, so you put it here. This one is water, you put it here. And this one is earth, you put it there, all right? Now you see it's a bit messy, all right? So what I normally do is I put all the spirits currency, right? I put that here. All right. Done. And then the contracts, right? I put these next to it. So, well, the contracts, when I say contracts, the talismans, you put them just next to it here. Because it's still easily accessible to everyone, because they have to have access to here as well. These are the mystery bonuses. More about that later. I tend to put them here or maybe here, you know, and then people can just get one when they're allowed to get one. Okay, another thing. Normally when I shuffle these, right, I kind of saw already what some of them are, so I never choose my own mystery bonus. So whenever I gain one, somebody else chooses for me, you know. And also when somebody picks something, I try not to look or whatever to keep it fair. So I don't know what people took and so on. Anyway, so that is done. So player has gotten their 10 meeples, their 5 Tory, they've gotten their 3 spirits, and also their chosen clan cards. Okay. Now, next is you're going to place these cards, which I've already done. I need to stop bumping into the camera. All right. So these are now your night parades. Okay. Your earth night parade, your water night parade, and your wood night parade. So you get the 3 spirit tokens, which is your personal supply, and then everything else is placed, and then basically the game setup is done. So let's say we had 2 players, right? Instead of 3, we can still have 3, it's fine. But for space, consideration, it's probably easier to have 2. So the other person would then be the Onikuma, right? And Onikuma are these 3. Okay, so once again, wood, water, earth. There you go. And they have also their theirs, and you also get 3 spirit tokens. There you go. That is the setup. Now, normally I would advise against sitting like this because during the game your night parades will get longer, so you'll need more space. So at this point they're a bit too short to each other, so a bit too close to each other, sorry. So you want to have more space, and you also don't want to put your tokens here because once again you want a space. Okay, but that is the setup. Let's just go ahead and check out how the game plays. But before we do that, remember I switched to a 2-player game. So for a 2-player game, you don't use the day phase. You use the night phase. And yeah, this is the night phase. So that way, even in setup, you see both colors. Isn't that grand? Okay, I'm gonna speed up. Alright, so that's done. Remember, when you play with 2 players or 3 players, there's not much difference, only you flip this over. That is basically it. That is the only difference. Alright, so let's see how the game plays, shall we? Okay, so when you're playing a game of Night Parade, I keep saying Night Parade, but of course it's the Night Parade of 100 Yokai, but Night Parade is a little bit shorter, so I'll be calling it that. So when you're playing a game of Night Parade, you're going to be always doing 3 phases. You're going to do the Night Parade phase, recruit Yokai, and release your spirit power. Okay? Now, everybody will do that. You will do your 3 phases, the next player will do their phase, and so on and so on and so on. Okay? So there's no simultaneous things going on. It is just one person does it, finishes everything, then the next player. Okay? So, alright. First of all, let's imagine that I'm the bears. I'm going to refer to them as the bears and the foxes. Okay? That's going to be the easiest way. So I have to activate a night parade. So I have to activate either this row, or this row. I get to choose whichever I want to activate. Now, whichever night parade that I activate, I will flip that scroll. So let's say I'm going to activate him, right? So I flip it over. Now, why do you flip it over? You flip it over because on your turn, you activate this one, but your next turn, you are not allowed to activate this again. You have to choose a different one, okay? And then at the end of that turn, you'll flip this back up and the other one will be upside, on the upside. So, face up, sorry. So, what are these icons? First of all, this means you activate this row and you do whatever it says, okay? Next phase, you'll be able to buy a card. And this shows the cost, which I'll explain later. And at the end of the turn, you can exchange tokens for spirit tokens. So I'll explain that later too. So what happens for this clan, for this bear? First of all, you have the token of an element that refers to an island. So once again, you have 4 earth islands, this one, this one, this one, this one. And you have 4 water ones, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And you have 4 earth ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 fire, this one, okay? So, this means you can take one of your meeples, all right? And then place it on a earth island. You can choose which one, okay? So let's say I put it on 3, all right? I'll put him face up because lying down can mean something else, all right? And for further clarification, I'm going to zoom in a bit more. Okay, so I've taken out the island and placed the meeple on it, so it's easier to see. So you have the icon here, you have the icon on the island, you place your meeple on the island. It's as simple as that. Next, you have a talisman icon, which means you receive 1 talisman and put it in your with your other resources. And then finally, you have a fist. A fist means that you can punch someone and basically remove them from the game. So let's say there was a fox here and I arrived here, then I can punch out the fox and he's removed from the game. Now, let's say the fox was on a different island. So let me just change it like this, up, and put this back. All right, let's say I'm there. Let's say I placed my guy there and I have another one here with a fox. So on my turn, I place this one, I get a talisman, then I can punch. I don't have to punch on the island where I am. I can punch wherever I want, as long as I'm there and there's an opponent there. So I could punch him out, done. And that is immediately the end of my Night Parade phase. Because I did this, I got a contract, I got a fist. Now, when it comes down to my faction, there's not much variety in the beginning. They're just punchers. So as you can see, this one would place a person on a water island and punch someone. This one would place a person on a wood island and punch someone and also get a talisman token. Okay, now if we take a look at the other clan, well, we'll take a look at the other clan later. I'll just finish my turn here to explain the other two phases and then go into the different parts. So the second phase that we're doing is the recruit yokai, which is over there. And for that, I will zoom in at that spot. So in the recruit yokai phase, you're going to be doing this, which basically means to recruit a yokai, you need to have a talisman and the required number of spirits. Now, how do you know how much they cost? Well, very simple. These cost 2 spirits and a talisman, 4 spirits and a talisman, 6 and a talisman. Okay, so also in the game, the spirits sometimes might be referred to as a level 1, level 2, level 3, but that is for the expansions. It doesn't happen in this version yet. So basically, when you see here, what can you do? For example, I have 3 and a talisman. Obviously with 3, I can only get one of these. Okay, now let's say I had 8, right? You can buy as many as you want. So if I have 8, I could still only buy 1 if I only have 1 talisman. But if I have 8 and 3 talismans, I could buy 3 cards if I wanted to. Okay, so what do these guys do? Well, this guy, as you can see, he punches and he'll allow you to place a meeple on a earth island. Same for him, except he will give you 1 spirit when you use him. Okay, now of course you have colors for every, well, you have, what am I saying, colors, you have all the elements and different icons as well. So once again, we have the punch here. This one means you can move. So once again, you can move, you don't have to move the meeple that you've just placed. You can move any meeple that you want, 1 spot. Only 1 meeple, okay? Not a group of meeples or whatever. 1 meeple can move 1 spot. So for example, since it's on screen, let's say I have a meeple here, all right? And I have a meeple here. Let's say I place this one this turn. On my turn, I can move him or I can move him because they're both on islands, okay? So I can put 1 would be fine, 1 would be fine. Now, also very important is the fire island in the middle, which I will explain in a second as well. You cannot place anyone there. You can only move there. But I'll make sure to repeat that later on. So, move means you can just move a meeple. All right. Very important strategic-wise. This one we've already seen. Contract, move, contract. I keep saying contracts, but it's talismans. I have no idea why I say contract. Talisman, spirits, move. I think we've already seen the possible combinations here of all the tokens. Now I'm just checking also to let you admire the art, but also just because I'm going to be talking about the expansions, which will include more tokens, more icons as well. So level 4 or level 2, so which costs 4 spirit tokens. You can see they offer you 2 actions. So it's always a placement and the 2 extra ones, okay? Which of course make it a lot more interesting, but also more expensive. And then these ones, which give you a higher combination. So just to give you what kind of show you what kind of combinations. Oh my goodness. There are, I'll show you some. So 2 spirits, you get a talisman and you get to punch someone. 2 spirits, 2 spirits, 2 movements, 2 punches, 2 movements, same thing. So roughly like a move and a spirit again. And you can see the same spirits come back because there's 1 spirit for each element. Okay, All right, and then let's take a look at the level 6s. Remember, you can buy these by having 1 talisman and 6 spirits. You can buy 1. So, for example, movement, 2 punches. Actually here, 1 talisman, 2 spirits, 1 talisman. Same thing, as you can see, same guy, different element. So here there's even more combinations that you could possibly get. Like this is really good if you have a good spirit engine, because they will allow you to buy twice every round. All right. So what happens when you buy one? Well, when you buy a card, let's say I was really wealthy, right? And I had more spirits than I have now and more talismans. And let's say I buy these 3 cards. Let's say these 3, the bottom 3, right? Let's say I buy all 3 of them. Then I will go back to my Night Parade and place them like so. Okay, so here are the cards that I bought. This one I place here. This one I play with next to it, which once again shows that you have to make sure you have enough room, okay? And then this one, which is wood, will go next to here. Now my next turn, I won't be able to activate this because it's already blocked, okay? But I will be able to do these guys, and then there'll be a lot of punching going on in that case, all right? Now, after, I'll go back to the spirits first to show you. After you've recruited a yokai, you can actually immediately show what's next and then potentially buy that one too if you have the money for it. Okay, now I bought 3 in one go, but I could have bought 1, see what comes out, and then maybe change my mind or whatever. Okay, so also another thing that you can do during this phase, and which is really handy, is let's say you can only buy 1 card, or just you don't like anything that's there. You can choose 1 row, right, and say, okay, the 4 costs, or level 2s, I don't like them, I want to remove them, put them back in the deck, and then shuffle, and then draw 2 new ones. Okay, so blah blah blah, let's say I shuffled, draw 2 new ones, and then buy. Or you could buy 1 and then decide to shuffle another deck, but you can only shuffle 1 deck on your turn, okay, not 2, only 1. That's the limit. Okay, and that sums up everything that you can do during your recruit yokai phase. Okay, so you pay the cost with a talisman. Remember, you always need 1 talisman alongside the cost, and you need it for every card. Okay, you can always remove 2 cards, well, put them back in the deck, shuffle, and reveal 2 new ones, but you can only do it once. And when you buy a card, you immediately reveal the next one. You can then buy that one too, or do something else. All right, so those are basically the main reasons with recruiting yokai. So then we go on to the final phase, the 3rd phase, which is releasing spirit power, which I'll show now. So let's say I did absolutely nothing on my turn and I have this left. Okay, now the spirits, you keep them. That's okay. But the talismans, at the end of your turn, they go away. And as it says here, it says for every 2, you get 1 spirit token. But in the expansion, they mention that they changed it. You get, even if you get rid of 2, well, let's rephrase it. If you get rid of 1, you also get 1 spirit token. It's basically get rid of 2, rounded down, and get 1. Okay, so if you only have 1, you still get a spirit token. So if I were not to buy anything this round, then I could get rid of it and get a spirit token. But obviously, as you can see, I bought a bunch of stuff which was way too expensive, but whatever, so normally I'm broke, right? But let's say I didn't buy any of these guys and I had this remaining, then this would be gone, and then I would have gotten this. Okay, and then maybe next time, if I get a new talisman, suddenly I can buy more because now I have 4 spirits. So it also pays to save, all right? Another thing about the recruiting yokai, actually, you don't have to buy, okay? You can just choose to shuffle the deck even, and then still don't buy, because you can use it to get rid of some cards that are good for somebody else. All right, so that is the final phase, recruiting yokai. Let's see what the islands look like. Okay, let's talk about the islands. Okay, so here we have the islands. They are different, first of all, from the day islands, but I'll get into that difference in a minute. First, I'll talk about what the level 2 islands look like. First of all, on an island, there are four important things to see, maybe even 5. But let's start with the most obvious one, the big numbers. So 5, 3, 7, 4, 3. These are not victory points, okay? Not victory points. So this is the requirement of how many meeples you need there. So we have 1, right? Let's say I have 3. The moment I have 3 here, right, I'll take them away and I will place a Torii. Now I can no longer place any Tories there, but the game will end once someone has placed all their Tories. Okay, and also every Torii is a point at the end of the game, so you want to have those. All right, so of course the 3s are easy, so they only give you as a reward 1 spirit. That's underneath the 3, you see the reward. Okay, for example, if I went for the 5, I get 2 spirits and a mystery bonus. The mystery bonuses are over here, and what could they possibly be? Well, this one gives you 2 spirits, this gives you 1 point, this gives you 2 points, 1 point, 2 spirits, and 1 point. Those are the possible rewards you can get from there. So if you go for a level 6, it's 3 spirits and a mystery bonus. So basically it's always spirits or mystery bonus. And here, when you go here, this is kind of special. It gives you 2 points and a mystery bonus according to how many lanterns you have on other islands where you have a Torii already. So you get 1 spirit token for each lantern on island tiles where you have a Torii. It also gives you 2 points at the end of the game because it has 2. So you look around, I don't have any Torii, only here. But let's say I had a Torii here and here, right? That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points for 6 spirits. So that's a lot because you can buy a lot of stuff. Now that means, of course, that it's the longer you wait to go there, the higher the reward. But you need 7 meeples there to actually activate it, and you only have a total of let's say 3, 5, 8, 10 meeples. So that means 7 out of 10 have to be there, and whoever builds the first Torii anywhere, nobody else can get the reward anymore. So I got 1 spirit, but if the fox then builds one here, which is allowed, they do not get the reward anymore. They still get a point at the end of the game, but they don't receive the reward anymore. So that is obviously very important just to be first. Okay. Now there's also something that I mentioned before, and that is the hidden plot card, right? Everyone has their own hidden plot card. Like for example, this one, right? So everyone has a reason to go to certain places. Now, this one is the same for everybody. It means you get 1 point for each Torii that's on the board. The other 2 is different for everyone. The second one has to do with your Tories. The third one has to do with your Yokai most of the time. So, for example, for this card, the second one, it says that you would get a point for every Torii on a water island. So once again, the blue ones are water islands. So when you have this, you want to make sure that your Tories are on water islands, which if I had this, I would be playing really badly because I have nothing on a water island. The third one in this case means that each 2 water yokai that I have gives me 1 point. So remember what I bought? I bought 2 earth and 1 wood. So this card would also be horrible for my playstyle at the moment because I would not get any money for this, points for this. Now, for example, the bottom one, you want to buy all the blue ones to make it easy, okay? Because for every 2, you get a point. Of course, it's going to be very obvious that you're going to go for that, and people might block you. And also, you're going to need a lot of room because if you only buy blue cards, your night parade is going to be super long, okay? All right, so that is what the hidden plot is. When you're playing 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, you all have a different one. But once again, the top one is the same. If you play solo, then there's only 1 card, and you and the AI, the Yokai King, will basically compete for the same thing. Okay, so these are the hidden plot cards. All right, so when it comes down to the islands, basically, let me go into a bit more detail. I'm going to move my camera a little bit so you can see the top of the cards like this. Okay, let's say I have not activated this yet, right? And I activate it now on my turn, even though with all the stuff that I already have here. Now, as you can see, I'm going to be activating 3 earth cards in a row, and I'm going to add some random foxes as well, just to make the example a bit easier. So first of all, I get to place a meeple on an earth. Now I can choose if I put it on 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now I'm not going to put it on 3 because I already have a Torii there. Now, of course, if I had a move action here, I could have put it here and then later moved it to there, but I already have one there too, so that's also not very useful. So I'm going to place it on 4. Now then I get a talisman, as usual, right? And then I get to punch. Now, there's someone here, I can punch him, or I can punch him, or I can punch him. But let's say I don't want the foxes to get a 3. It's too easy and it's a point, so no, punch, bye-bye. Then I get to place another meeple. Now, a very important rule is I cannot go to the same island, okay? You cannot place a meeple on the same island twice in one round. I mean on your turn, okay? Now, if someone else's turn, back to you, then you can place one on again. But in your turn, like right now, I cannot go here. So I can't go to 4, I have to go to a different earth one. So I'm gonna go to 5, okay? Get 1 spirit, because it says here 1 spirit. Then place another meeple. Now I'm gonna go to 6, because I've already done 4, already done 5. 3 is kind of useless, so I'm gonna go to 6, okay? And then I get another talisman and I get 2 spirits. Okay. Now you can imagine if you have 5 earth cards, that means the 5th one, you won't be able to place it because you've already placed a meeple on each of the 4 earth islands. Okay. So it won't be able to be placed. You can still do the other actions, but you just won't be able to do this on your 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever card. Okay. Another thing, let's say all my meeples are already on the board, okay? Let's say it like this, and let's say I remove this one here, and I did my last card. I did these 2 already, now it's my 3rd one, but I'll put this here, but I don't have any meeples left. All my meeples are gone. All my meeples are on the board. So what do? Well, you have to take a meeple from the board and then place it again. Now, nothing stops you from removing a meeple from a place, from any place, basically. I was about to say you can do this, but actually you cannot, because you cannot go to the island you've been already. So, for example, I remove my 5 here, and I go to 6 there, done. Okay? That's what you would do then. When you can no longer place anything, you can pick it up. And it can be one that you've just placed as well. So let's say I just placed this one, I pick it up and I put it here. That's allowed, okay? But it has to be still an earth island because it's an earth card. So basically, to sum up, all your meeples are there. You have to pick one up and put it somewhere else, okay? Now, aside from the islands, there's one more hugely gigantic important thing, and that is what it says at the bottom, because I've already made a mistake in this explanation. It says here, of course on purpose, it says here there can only be 1 Torii. So orange could not go there, or me, depending on who was first. Now, if it says 2, then 2 people can be there. And there's also 3 and 4, but that's on the island side. For example, the 6 has 3, okay? Now this has 1, but on the day side, I said island side, I meant day side, it has 2, okay? And you can see during the day, this just has 3 tokens. This does not have the lantern things. There are no lanterns during the day, all right? So that's basically everything about the islands. I'm just going to flip them over now to show you what the day-like ones look like. Not much difference, to be honest, right? There's one more thing that I have to mention. I think it's more expansion, so I might get back to it later. Whatever is on an island, so you can see a dragon here, you can see a swan, you can see a house. I don't know what it's called. Special house, Japanese house, or a cave. There might be some goal cards, hidden plot cards that talk about what it says here. But I don't think it's in the base game. I think the expansions introduce it. Or it has, I'm going to stop talking about it because it's in the expansion for sure. Check out the expansion, which I'll be talking about later, and then you'll get an idea. All right, so that's enough about the islands. I think recruiting the yokai I've already covered as well. Let's get back to the scrolls and see what's so special about them. Okay, so remember that I had my turn. Okay, I activated my earth row. It was just this guy. And then magically I had so much money, which of course was super cheating, so don't do what I did. And then I bought a bunch of cards. And so just imagine we're like way farther in the game. And I just activated my Earth Parade, did everything, right? It's the other player's turn, and now it's my turn again. Now you can see this is flipped over, right? So I cannot use it. That's why it stays flipped over, okay? Now I choose another one. Let's say I choose green. I choose wood, right? Once again, it means you do whatever it says. So I place one on a green island, so on a wood island. I get a talisman. I knock someone out. I place another meeple on a wood island and punch 2 meeples out. And then at the end of my turn, after I have finished everything, I have gotten yokai if I wanted to have some. I got rid of all my talismans if I still had some and got spirits. Then this one flips back over. Okay, so next round, when it's back to me, I remember I can't use this one. I have to use one of these two. Okay, so of course you want to make sure that you use your cards as well as possible, place them as well as possible, because when you buy them, you have to put them at the end of the line. You can't just buy a new card and be like, okay, so I'm going to put this one here. No. You can't do that. So it's always in order that you do them. So sometimes it can really be costly if you accidentally put some in the wrong place or whatever. Okay. All right. So I think that's enough about the cards. So let's take a look at how you actually win a game. Something that I forgot to mention is that you can only have a maximum of 8 spirit tokens. So at the moment I have 7, which is fine. You can have more than 8 during your turn, but at the end of your turn you have to discard down to 8. So remember that as well, very important. So let's check on how you can win this game. Okay, first of all, the game will end once someone has placed their last Torii. So boom, for example. Now just to be clear, if we're playing a 2-player game, everything is still night side, okay? So when someone has placed their last Torii, then the game ends. They will still complete their turn, okay? They do their complete turn, and then the next players, if that person was not the last player, the next player will still do their full turn as well. So it's not like some games where you reach the requirement that your turn immediately ends. No, you still do the full 3 phases until everyone has had an equal amount of turns, and then that's it. So if the last player ends the game by placing their Torii, then they complete their phases and then the game ends. Okay, if the first player does it, then the other players still get a turn. All right, it's very important to realize. So how do you add the scores? Very simple. You just do all these 3, okay, as I explained before, and you add any potential mystery bonuses that you acquired during the game. And then when you add all the points, then you know who won the game. And that's it. If there are any tiebreakers, the tiebreaker would be whoever has the longest night parade is the winner. If there's still a tie, then the player with the most spirit tokens remaining would be the winner. And if it's still a tie, then whoever has the most meeples on the world map is the winner. If there's still a tie, they don't mention. So I guess you just share it then. All right. Okay, so that is how you play the multiplayer one with the base game. Okay, now I'll explain the 2 expansions and what they add as well in the next 2 segments. There's also a different video where I play solo and explain how the solo differs from this one. So if you're interested in solo gameplay, you can check that one out. But now let's take a look at the expansions. The first expansion I'll be talking about is Kami Rising. Okay, first of all, Kami Rising adds 2 new clans, which I apparently put away. Let me restart. The first expansion I'll be talking about is Kami Rising. Okay, that has a bunch of modules, but also, as you can see, 2 new clans. You have the I don't know, kind of dogs, I guess. They're called the Inugami, and then you have the birds. They're called the Kotengu. Now, both of these have specific powers, but I'll talk to them about them in a minute. Okay, first let's show about which yokai they introduce, and then their powers will also immediately be talked about. So, for example, this one has a new token, right? And then this one has a new token. These are the new level ones, right? So I'm using level 1 now, even though they cost 2 spirits, because it's important now. First of all, you have the banish token. Now, let's say purely for examples, I'm gonna get rid of these, okay? See ya. Bye-bye. And just include the earth the Earth Night Parade, and I'll use this clan as an example, the one that I used in the base game just now. All right, let's say they acquired these 2 cards. Doesn't even matter all that much. Let's do some variation. Let's do this. Okay. All right. Now, this means a banish token. So let's say the other player had this card, they activated their Water Night Parade, they placed a Water Meeple, and then they have received a Banish token. Now the token is just like a talisman, it's just like spirits, it's something that you can use. And actually it's not like spirits, it's more like talisman. If you don't use it during your turn, then you exchange it for 1 spirit, okay? So depending on how many you have, of course, for every 2, 1 spirit, and also means, let's say if you have a talisman and a banish token, they go away together and you get 1. Okay, just tokens in general are discarded if they are not spirit tokens. So what do you do with the banish token? Now with a banish token, you can look at someone's night parade, any of them, any 3 of them, right? Just any 3 of them, and choose a card and banish it. So what happens? I only have 1 banish token, so I can only banish a level 1 card. First of all, it's very easy to recognize a level 1 card because there's only 1 extra icon, okay? A level 2 card has 2 extra icons. And very important, you cannot banish the starting cards. So the first cards, for first card of every night parade, you cannot banish, okay? Not allowed. Only the ones that have been purchased, acquired in future rounds. So with this, I can banish a level 1. Now, lucky for me, my opponent has 2 level 1s. I just choose one. Let's say I don't want him or her to do what I do to them. So I say I'm going to banish this one. So I lose my token, I spend it. This one is now turned over. So that means on the next turn, only if my opponent activates Earth, right? He does this, then he flips this over, but it doesn't do the action, all right? Now, let's say he didn't activate this one. Let's say he activated water. Okay, let's say there's a card here, or activated wood. Then this would still stay banished, okay? This only flips over when it's activated, and when it reaches this card, then you flip it over, but you cannot do what it says. Okay, that is how banish works. Then you have the other card, which is named invoke or invocation, right? So what that means is you can, when you get these tokens, right? Let's say I get 2 of these, right? My cards gave me 2 of these in total. Like, let's say if I was brown, I had this one, and then another card, it gave me another one. I have 2. So during the purchase or recruit a yokai phase here, right, I can spend these to buy a card, and they have a special name. Basically, when you buy a card, they're referred to as shikigami, okay? And you can only have a maximum of 5 shikigami cards in your hand. Yes, I said in your hand, because what happens? Okay, let's move closer to the cards. That way I don't have to edit. Okay, with this, once again, if I have 1, I can buy a level 1 card. So one of these 2. If I have 2, I can spend both to get a level 2 card. Once again, you can recognize it by the 2 icons below the element. 2 means level 2, we require 2 tokens. Let's say I just, it's during the buy phase, during the recruiting phase, right? So I can get some with spirits and talismans and place them. But if I use these, let's say I use these 2, that means I will buy them, right? I'll buy them. They're, of course, replenished. Like, for example, I buy the brown one, right? I buy an earth, and then it's replenished. That's another earth, and I buy this one too, and then it's replenished. Okay, these 2, they go away. Once again, if you don't use them, they will turn into spirits at the end of your turn into money. Okay, so I bought these 2. Now let's go back to my earth parade, my earth night parade, right? Let's say a turn has passed, it's my turn again. Two turns later, I can activate this again. I decide to activate it. Now, I have these 3, right? But I have these 2 in my hand. So the nice thing about that invocation is I get to play these, and it's a one-off. And I can place these at any time. I can say, okay, I place this first, and then this one, and then this one I put in the middle here. So I can have like what they call is like a mega turn, right? A power turn, power move and everything. But these 2 cards, after I played them, they go away, they go back into the deck. Okay? So like one-offs. So it's very tricky to play with that clan that uses this, because I will show you the starting cards of the clan. If you play with invocation, right? Your starting cards are these. So you can see they have 1 talisman here, and then 4 invocations here, but they have no spirits, so they have no income. So then the question is, when are you going to get spirits? Are you going to focus on getting those cards and doing power moves, or just going to ignore it and make sure? Because if you always use these, then your night parades will not get longer, because there's just one-off cards that, you know, will stay, they'll be stuck. So that's the difficulty about this clan. So the other clan, the starting cards are these. So you can see a lot of banishments. So they can really slow down someone. But of course, you can see it's only 1. So if you, as an opponent, focus on buying level 2s, that means they have to get more cards that give them banish. Otherwise, they won't be able to stop you or banish you at all. But of course, every time they don't use it, it's money. So, you know, it's kind of like a mini engine at the same time. All right. So let's take a look at the new yokai. All right. The ones that you can actually acquire, because obviously there's always new yokai, because otherwise how are you going to get the money? So I already show you the level 1s, remember, the ones that cost 2. Let's take a look at the level 2s, so the 4s. So double banish, and then a combination, of course, of other things. So it's pretty nice. And of course, you shuffle these into the decks, so it does give you a lot of different options. Then you have these. Okay, so double move, nice combination of other things. All right, so yeah, it really changes the game up a lot. So definitely worth it as far as expansions go, if you ask me. All right, then we have two more things to talk about. You have, of course, this will be very brief. You have, of course, the more hidden plots, okay, that focus on the tokens on the cards, but also they also focus on the Fire Island, giving points if you do certain things there, okay? There's only 4 of them, so not many. And then finally, you have, the expansion is called Kami Rising, right? And that is actually the name of a deck. This is the Kami Rising deck. So what does it mean? It means if you basically have played the game so many times that you want to play it differently. So just shuffle and you take out 1 card and it will change the rules of the game, okay, to spice things up. So I'm not going to go over what they all do, but for example, I'll tell you what this charming man does. Maybe you can already guess it from what he looks like. His name is Rajin, right? And it says when the Storm God is active, the flames of Fire Island are extinguished and it's considered to be an island tile of wood, water, and earth. So now you no longer have to move to the Fire Island. You can actually immediately place it there. And normally you cannot place anything there, okay? You can only move on to the Fire Island, which is also very important, of course. Okay, cool. So that is Kami Rising, and that is a Kami Rising expansion. Let's take a look at the next expansion. The next expansion I'll be talking about is the Moonlight Whispers expansion. Now, as usual, this expansion has 2 new clans. First of all, you have my favorite, the Kappa, and the second one is the Tamaki. All right, so, and you can see there's a bunch of other things here as well. First of all, just like the previous one, I will go over the level 2 cards first, and well, level 1 cards, who cost 2 spirits first, and show you the new icons. All right, so the first one is a leaf. Leaf cards are amazing, and don't take it lightly, it's really amazing. Why is it amazing? This little guy, when you buy him, obviously he goes to the Earth Night Parade, right? But after you activate him, he will jump to another night parade of your choice. So either water or wood, okay? And of course, you have different characters, like you have a water one as well. So imagine if you have these 2, okay? If you have these 2 on both your night parades, whenever you activate one of them, they'll jump to a different one and jump to a different one, and maybe at one point be on the same together, because normally you cannot put a water on earth or on wood, but these guys, because they have a leaf, after activating they move to a different one, okay? They basically jump around. I'll show you an example after I've explained the other things and made some room. Then we have another one, another icon, which is this, which is basically for the turtles, and it means hiding, okay? Now you can actually hide. So when you place a character, right, you place it and then hide. That means that when you're on an island, so let's take one of these new islands. Okay, let's say I'm here, okay, even though it's not, it has blue, it has 2 of them. So let's say I'm here. Normally, if somebody else is there and they have a fist, they can punch me, right? But if I use the hide action, I can put it face down. That means it's hidden. So now if they use the punch action, you only wake up, but you haven't been removed from the island. So it's an extra, I should say, a protection against fighting units. It'll take them twice as much effort to actually get rid of you. Okay, so those are the 2 basically actions, hide and change. If you buy this during with the invocation tokens, right, that just means that you can use it with any night parade that you want of your choice, and then it goes away. Okay, so they're like wilds. When you buy it with, when it becomes a shikigami, you know, in your hand, it's a wild, so you can use it with any. Of course, you still have to place it on the island that it says on the card, you know, on the element, but you can use it together with water or with wood or whatever. Okay, so of course, this means that first I'm going to remove these two and this one. I'm going to make some space by saying bye-bye to the clans. Bye-bye clans. All right. So obviously these two clans, I'll show you now, they specialize in each of those new icons. So the badgers, they're actually badgers, yeah, they're changelings, right? So their starting cards will also move around. So let's say you activate wood first, right? And then you say, you know what? I like wood combined with water. So I'm going to put it here. And the next turn, you activate water. Then all three of them are suddenly here. And then when you activate water, they move again. So it's pretty crazy. No one in our group has played with this before, but that's actually a potential move that your whole night parade keeps jumping over. It's crazy. But of course, then the banishment are really good because then you can banish them and then they won't jump around because they'll be like this. You activate them, you flip them over, they do nothing. So banishment then becomes really important. Otherwise, you just keep jumping around everywhere, la la la. And yeah, so that's what they do. And then the turtles, of course, they're not teenage mutant ones, but in regular ones, they can hide. They're just really good at hiding. And one very important detail with the hiding, the move icon, right? For example, in case you have forgotten, this one can actually move a hidden person, okay? And also when you use hidden, your options are to either take an existing meeple and hide them, or move a hidden meeple. So this is the second thing that I actually forgot about it. So you can hide or move a hidden one. This one is move any meeple, so including the hidden ones. Okay, so a very, very important detail. Okay, so that's what they specialize at. Let's take a look at the level 2 cards and see what they look like. Who cost 4 spirits and of course and a talisman. So like, this is awesome. Some of them are really, really good. This is you hide and you can punch. So yeah, the combinations, they become more and more interesting because once again, these are shuffled in. Let's take a look at the level 6 cards. Here we go. So yeah, you can see the level 6 cards, they become level 3, who cost 6, sorry. They, like this one I love, move, punch, and then this just moves around. It's so good. Like the leaves are always awesome, I feel, unless someone's good at banishing, because then you know you're not going to be able to use it. But then of course a level 3 is very hard to banish. So yeah. Okay, so what is next? What else is special? Now you can see we have some islands here. All right. First of all, you can see they have doubles, okay? Double requirements, makes it easier to place them. They'll get filled up faster. 2, 2, 1. And then their day sides are 1, 1, 1, okay? 4, 5, 6. And in a 2-player game or solo, it's also 4, 5, 6. Now, you also see the faces, of course. The faces are very important because it has to do with this deck. Okay, and this is actually why it's called the Yokai. All right, so we shuffle it. This is actually the Moonlight Whisper deck. Okay, so you shuffle it. Okay, and then what happens when you place a Tori here? Because you can see it is a reward. All right, so you place your Tori there. I mean, you have enough people, then boom, you have your Tori there, and the different faces mean different things. Like this one, the white one means you get to draw 1 card and place it in your night parade. This one means you draw 3. This is 2, because you can see the horns, 2 horns, 3 horns, 1 horn. Okay, so you always choose only 1 though. Okay, so you draw 1 card, keep it, draw 3 cards, keep 1, draw 2 cards, keep 1. So for example, this one, okay, which, let's be honest, is awesome. Okay, it has 3 movement cards and it also has this icon, which means that all these Yokai, they're, in Belgium we say it's a poisoned gift. Like it's a gift, it's really good, they're really good, but they're also really dangerous. Because this one, okay, if there's anyone who has more Tori than you on the map, they can claim this, take it away from you, okay? So let's say you put a Tori down, and it's your first one, and someone has 2, and when it's their turn, they'll take it away from you, which of course is bad. That's why you want to go and draw more than 1. For example, this one then gives you 3 spirits, really nice, and then you have this bonsai token, right? That is, if you have more meeples on island, sorry, not bonsai, sakura trees. You can claim this Yokai if you have more meeples on islands that depict sakura trees. Now, those trees, of course, they're always going to be on some islands, but I'm just checking where it is. Is it on any of these? Probably not, because they start with it. It's going to be one of these other ones that has the trees. I imagine maybe here. I'm actively looking through the maps. Here. For example, here. I didn't say maps, the tiles. Okay. So then suddenly it becomes important where you're going to go, because it has an effect on keeping these guys. Like this one. I showed you dragons earlier with the base game review. Not review, but how to play. This one is how many dragons. You can claim this Yokai if you have more meeples on island tiles that depict dragons. And remember, this is meeples, okay? Not Tori. Because it has the little meeple symbol, okay? Also meeple symbol for the houses. This is how many ghosts are actually Kodama spirits, sorry, in your night parades, because your night parade people will sometimes have a ghost, like this guy here. He has a ghost. Okay, why are you saying Ghost Joe? Because it says Kodama spirit. Yeah, whatever. All right, then this goes to whoever has the least amount of spirit action icons in their night parade. So the actual icons. For example, if you have 2, you're probably not going to be able to claim it, because there might be someone with 0 and then they get this. But then suddenly they have a card that punches 3 times. So these are really, really powerful. But this deck, you only put it in your game if you want to. If you want to put it in, then you'll just simply shuffle these 3 islands in. Okay. And then they'll become part of your island. Or you can do like I do, or I'm planning to do, just take all the tiles, shuffle, 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 shuffle. And if any of them comes out, sure, we'll use it. If none of them come out, we don't use it. It's just random, right? Okay, then we have, finally, we still have some more hidden plot cards, which are these. So as usual, the top is the same for everybody. Then you have the other one. With the, you can see it has to do with meeples, okay? Is if you have a meeple on island where you have a Tori already, it's 1 point. So if you finish this and you have like these guys at the end of the game, they give you 2 extra points. So by the time the game finishes, you want to get as many people on those islands. But of course, the more Tories that you build, means that they're not going to be on the board. So it's kind of like a weighing choices, like should I put more people out or just gather them, because it's actually 10 points extra, which is huge. This one then means just having, for every 2 hide icons on your yokai cards gives you 1 point. It's pretty straightforward. For every 2 leaves, 1 point. And this means having 2 or more meeples on an island on which you have no Tori gives you a point. So this is 2 or more, okay? Gives you a point where you have no Tori, okay? So this will give you 1 point at the end of the game. This is here, but this one gets you no points, okay? And then the other 2 are variations, you know, just other alternatives. Okay, so they also go into the hidden plot deck. All right, and those are the 2 expansions, right? And that's basically it, right? So let me bring back, I'd have to bring that board because you'll see my face soon. I'll tell you how I actually feel about the game. Yeah, that's it basically. All right. Okay, so that was Night Parade of 100 Yokai by Brueh, right? So how do I feel about the game? Well, I really like it. Okay, and you can already tell from the amount of videos that I have that I'm putting up. So there's the unboxing, there's the solo playthrough, there's this one, and I hope soon to have a multiplayer version out as well. I like it. First of all, let's state the obvious. Okay, it's super cute. You know, with all the different factions, races, whatever you want to call them, all the different little animals and the Torii and everything. It's nice to use. I like the artwork on the cards. I like the production quality. It's basically I'm just a fan across the whole line of the art style. Okay. Um, so gameplay wise, I like it a lot as well. There's the fact that you can activate your night parade and that you cannot activate it twice. So you have to think about, okay, I'm going to use it now, and then maybe if I buy something now, I can add it to that night parade, but I'm not going to be able to use it next turn. It's in 2 turns. And do I really want to put cards in every night parade? Because I mean, it'll give me options, but maybe I'm spending too much, or maybe I should focus on something else. And also, what other people do on the map can change your strategy completely. When we played one of the games that we played, somebody suddenly started collecting fists and started punching out everybody left and right. I was like, okay, maybe I need to start hiding or punch back or maybe banish. So there's multiple ways to tackle that. I like that aspect a lot. Also, I mean, maybe one tiny thing that I don't like is the ability to shuffle cards back into the deck. I mean, I think I'd prefer it to just draw 2 new cards and then put the cards on the bottom or something. Although I understand that maybe if you're blocking someone, it really lowers the chance of those cards coming back. But on the other hand, it is a lot of shuffling. Okay, so yeah, whatever. It's just a small thing, to be honest. It won't stop me from playing the game at all. Um, I like the things that the expansions bring. Are they a must-have? It opens up new avenues for sure. And I mean, we haven't played with the special islands yet, even though I kind of like it. Although you can be really unlucky with the card that you drew, as I mentioned before, because people can immediately steal it from you, and then you just gave them a powerful card, and you end up with nothing. Okay, so other stuff like changing the game rules. I don't know if I'm going to play the game that much that I feel like I need to change the rule of the way the game works every game by taking one of those Kami Rising cards, if I'm not mistaken. But the other ones, I mean, everything else that's added, I really like. I like the banish, I like the invoking cards. But yeah, so I think overall, I really enjoy the game. It doesn't play too long. Of course, watch out. There's always AP, of course. Also, the idea of should I buy something now? Should I save money and buy later? Or maybe I should just, get this now because somebody else is going to jump on it. Things like that. Yeah, I don't know. I immensely enjoyed it. I also like the solo version, although I played it on easy. So, yeah, I don't know. If this seems like something that you like dudes on a map, but then kind of like the lighter version, but then the whole mechanic of the night parades I really enjoy. If it's something you think you'd enjoy, then I suggest you take a look. And there's also going to be a new game of his soon on Kickstarter. If I'm not mistaken, I'll put a link down below, or just check his Instagram, which I'll also link in the caption, for updates on his new game and his older games, obviously. Anyway, I'm a fan after this one, so I'll definitely be keeping an eye on his future projects. Okay, I was Joachim. This was So Many Games So Little Time. Night Parade of 100 Yokai. Appreciated that you're watching, and maybe I'll see you next time. Have a nice day. Bye bye.